There's a few fundamental issues that I think it will be important to raise while you are doing this exercise or going through this path. The first thing, before I give the reflections, is that I'm taking it from nobody, Master of Ceremonies, is just my own personal, out of my readings and my experience in life, is that history can make you and can also break you as a person, first and foremost. History can unite and it can divide. But it's gonna depend as to when you narrate the stories, do you narrate the correct stories from the one who have experienced it, or you narrate stories by virtue of hearsay, by those who want to bring a particular way of thinking in that given community or society. So those are the things that we need to be very, very much be careful of. As we reflect to our history, I've picked up within few seconds that there's certain areas that have been left out. Particularly when you reflect to the history of black people in this town. One of them is an area near Philigistown, because most of these areas were like compounds. Probably one might explain and refer to the volunteer who started this program and refer him or her to the relevant people who might also narrate certain, things that relate to that. Another area, it's your Blackisdorp. Blackisdorp, the river that was once swept away and it took a life near Conville and Santaville. That river, there was no bridge at some point in time. There was the foot road. That was Blackisdorp, that area. Hence I was raising this issue. History can be used against a particular community in order to divide them or to unite them, depending how you narrate it. The area when you cross the bridge, it was a kind of a black township. It was like a compound, that we call it Blackisdorp. I didn't see any reflection of that particular history. I can still remember it vividly when those people were there. I think I was still at school with Amin and them. They were my seniors at the time. That morning, when it happened, it was like a dark cloud had fallen to a black child during the time in Roseau. I was so lucky because I was staying nearby. My father, by the way, was amongst the black policemen who worked in this town. Quite way back, I think it was during the early 30s, during that time. He was a very young policeman. He was not only a policeman, he was a CID at the same time. He was an interpreter in court, because wherever he was speaking more than 12 languages, both South African languages and languages from the diaspora. I'm so happy that I follow his footprints because I'm speaking more than 11 languages. I speak him. Now, I'm reflecting to these particular things and trying to reflect to the initiative of the Office of the MSc and the volunteer in the George Museum, Lynette, for taking this kind of initiative. And I hope it's not going to be an initiative that is going to exclude, but include many, both oral and written, so that it can reflect even small stories that can build a community or that can make a society a caring society. Because when you reflect into some of the, let alone the developmental elements of the George area, but there's also some political elements that have driven people to do things that they've never thought they'll ever do in life. If I can reflect to some few people that I'm seeing in front of us, I see Pastor Bruce, I see Mr. Harris, and I see Amin Jankis. And I see Mr. Stoffels there. You know, when you reflect to that particular history, when I started to know those people, I never even thought I'd ever meet them. We met them because we were driven by the environment that was there at the time. When the element of forced removal has become imminent in the town, it has driven certain communities against the others. And it has also instigated a political element within this whole thing. I find myself out of this country. I find myself in Robben Island for a couple of years because of those particular issues. One fundamental issue that I think I need to raise, schooling for a black child in this town was not even a privilege. It was not even a right. It was far from being a right. Black people was very difficult to go to school here. If they want to go to school, they must board a train to either Transkei, Ciskei, or parts of the Eastern Cape. I so happened to be amongst those who schooled in Somerset East because I didn't want to go to Transkei. I had my own perceptions about Transkei. I got my own perceptions about Ciskei. Those are the things that propel you to become politically driven. It's not because of your will, but the environment that we're living in force you either to go and join the armed struggle or you do things that are going to send you in jail. So I so happen to be a beneficiary of those two things. Hence, I'm saying a distorted history that can reflect here will make us blind more or will cripple us in the endeavor to build a George that is united, you know, by virtue of different communities, by virtue of language or experiences or whatsoever. And I think those who have taken this initiative, can I request to put more efforts in order to inculcate and also expose some of the other parts of the history that are not reflected. I know it's not an end, it's something that is recurring, it's ongoing. Let's go an extra mile in doing this. Without wasting your time, because all these things are documented and they are going to be reflected, I'm very much thankful to be given an opportunity to be part of those who are giving a particular section of the oral history of our time. Thank you.